What's going on, people? Shame TV East Watch, your host. You know who it is. It's gonna be a quick conversation while I go check my man play football, see my son play ball. What up? What up? Welcome. Could you guys give me a courtesy like or dislike when you enter? Doesn't matter, just activity. So at least we'll know who's in here. Good afternoon, everybody. Shame TV East Watch, your host. You know who it is. Please like and share if you don't mind. If you mind, don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. So, my ride is not that long, so let me go ahead and get into it while we can get into it. Today's topic is where the Moors erred in our community. And more than ever, we have a group of people who are rising up against anything that seems elitist. And I want you guys to remember that, because that is a big part of where the Moors erred, in my opinion, with our community. So everyone knows that we have what is called a fractured group. It was purposely done. That's why we're seeking reparations right now, because time has come, and it's just totally unfair. Like, it's the plethora of things that we can name that we've been through and that we have to face, just off the simple fact that if your name just so happens to be David Jenkins, they're pretty much sure you're not, a Caucasian, so you won't get hired. Or, God forbid, your mother named you Letitia, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're pretty much done. So that, I always bring up those things before I bring up the mass incarceration, before I bring up creating slavery through the penal system, all these things that we go through. So you have a group of people who are going through this continuously on a daily basis. Just the other day, once again, the police shot somebody that didn't have a gun, just shot them like it's willy-nilly, pulling out guns on brothers and sisters like it's willy-nilly. And there's no repercussions for this. Again, remember certain points, and that's another one. No repercussions. So you have these group of brothers and sisters who, the credit I always give them is that they are avid studiers, of information, which is important if you want to, make any sort of change, because you have to have information. You have to understand what's going on and how people are receiving things, how they're not, etc. What information to pass on, deciphering it, etc., etc. So you have a group of people who come to our community, and they come in the guise of bringing liberty and liberation for Black people. Now, one of the things that the Moors erred in is the whole Black and Black people thing. I think that educating brothers and sisters about that term, while also recognizing that they're going to use that term because it's something that's embedded in us. That's not something that you can just come and shame somebody out of saying. You're not going to be able to cut and shame brothers and sisters out of calling themselves Black men and women. I know that a lot of brothers and sisters, the same brothers and sisters, you can walk up to them right now and say, yo, what's up, Negro? And they'll tell you do not call them a Negro, and they ain't no fucking Negro, but they'll call themselves Black, and Black just means Negro, and Negro means Black. So I know that. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. But at the same time, just because I get it and I have a full grasp of that doesn't mean that the next person does. So over time, in dealing with building with people, which is one of my most fun activities, and it was when I was younger, one of my super fun activities is building. We used to call it building. And it's just getting together and philosophizing about life, about things that we've read, information that we've intaken, and sharing it, et cetera, et cetera. So In doing that, I also came to understand that a lot of people don't do that. So a lot of men and women and brothers and sisters are walking around ill-informed or not informed at all about a lot of things that they should be informed about. We talk every day in language like, well, I'm a citizen of this country. Like, do you really know what that means? Like, if you really knew what the term citizen was, you probably wouldn't call yourself that. You know what I'm saying? Like, things of that nature. So, because I know factually what the term means, why it exists, et cetera, doesn't mean the next man or woman will. So therefore, I cannot take this arrogant stance that just because I know and understand this, you need to know and understand this so that we can overthrow this, blah, 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 blah. The point I'm making with that is all of this is geared towards what? Not being oppressed by a certain group of people who what? Oppress us without what? Repercussion. Okay? They do it without repercussion. So that's the whole point. That's our whole fight. Our whole fight is against the court system that can bring you in, and when you even speak, they'll tell you to shut up, meaning you can't even put in a defense. All of that is illegal, but they do it every day. It all happens every day. And you try to fight against these things. These things are oppressing us. So you got these group of brothers and sisters. If we could, so you know what I mean? We could solve this problem right now. All you have to do is X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. Now let's go over this. Number one, 98.9% of these brothers and sisters have never, ever went to court and actually used this shit. And I don't mean to call it shit as the denigrated, so excuse me for that. Brothers, 98% of the brothers and sisters who tout this have not used it. You want to know how I know? It's because I went to court and I used it. And that shit used up nearly a year of my life. So I know what it means. I know the people who come in, the percentage of people who come in who are actually doing this, the percentage of people who are black and who are white. I know. So what happens is you have this group of people coming to these fractured people, which is us, and they're telling them, yo, we got the answer to this. We got the answer to that. Now let's start with the errors. Number one, even if you did have the right information, which a lot of it is factual, I never will argue against that. The way you deliver it is so arrogant and ineffective that the whole mission is then rendered ineffective. Let me explain to you what I mean. If my job is to convince my child of something that is very important, something that will save not only his or her life, but it will also benefit my life as well and my brothers and sisters around them as well. I must convey this message to them. I am not going to come to them talking down to them, telling them how they don't know this, and spend 7 minutes of a 15-minute discussion first bloviating about myself and how many books I've read and et cetera, saying this as though just because I did this, it gives me the right to, first off, make you a student and me a teacher. Even if that was the case, most of those student-teacher relationships just happen by natural circumstances. They just be that way. If you're around somebody and they're a little older or younger or the same age, and they have a vast amount of knowledge in a certain field that you're interested in, and you two are brought together, not even by that field, and you get to talk to this person every day about that field, in a situation like that, you become what is called a student, and they become a teacher because they're teaching you about something that you don't know about that you're interested in. They're teaching you about it. That person is not coming to you and say, hey, listen, now I'm teacher and you student, you see, because I've read over 4,000 hours worth of books and research, and so that means when I start talking, you just shut up. No, most people who do that don't want to be questioned. And that's not fair. If you're dealing with information and information as it is, meaning I take in information and I let that guide me, not my preconceived notions about the information or what I want it to be, etc., etc. No, the information as it is, what it is, I let that mold the situation, mold me and how I think, not my, again, preconceived notions about it and what I wish it to be. So you have these people who bring in this information, they study, but they don't look at it like a real lover of information. They're not sharing the information. They want to dictate to you they want to dictate to you how you receive the information. And then a lot of the times what raises a red flag with me, okay, from the Moors where they erred, is that they do this and then start attaching a price. All right? They do this shit, and then now you have them out here attaching a price to it. So now it becomes, really, I'm sensei and you're a student. I'm your sensei, and you come in here to get some fucking karate lessons, and you got to come in and do what I say. You got to wax on and wax off before I even teach you how to kick, and I can do it however I want and charge you the whole 9 yards. Now, to the credit of the Moors, you have some Moors who are vehemently against that. They will tell you that that is not the way of the Moors. The only thing a Moor should charge you is the price that it costs to print the fucking paper. Whatever that is, that's what they should charge you. Because they're supposed to be uplifting fallen humanity. Meaning they have information in something that they claim this child or us, the broken, fractured people, must have. But they come about it in a way that's so fucked up that is shunned. I'm supposed to give my child this information. They have to receive this, but I'm yelling and screaming at them all the time. Now they're not even ready to even listen to anything I'm saying because of the way I'm bringing it to them. They're supposed to get this information and understand, and every time you turn around, I'm trying to give them the information with a belt in my hand, slapping them and scolding them and beating them like some fucking animal of some sort, and wondering why they don't want to receive the information. Wondering why they're going against what I'm saying. Come on now. These are the Moors. These are the Moors as we know them today. I've met plenty of Moors who are not like that, plenty of Moors who are kind-hearted, plenty of Moors who just, they want to share the information. They want you to understand what they understand. But for the majority, that is not the case. They say that we're not a religious organization, but they come to you preaching just like they're a religious organization. This is what's going on. So the Moors, you err in your approach and how you try to give this information. Even when a Moor hears this, they'll say some elitist type bullshit, which is number 2 on how you erred with our community. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Number 2 on how you erred in our community is this arrogant, elitist, dare I say, mirroring European elitist attitude towards a people that you know are fractured. So stop assuming that they should have this information. Stop assuming that they should even be going after this information when you know that they're fractured and they were basically fractured, meaning taught not to seek this information, taught not to even think about things in this nature, in this way. You know this shit. You know this. So you're coming to these people that are fractured and acting like they're supposed to have something that you know that they don't have. The reason why the average European around you lives to a certain standard is for a reason. It's the way that they do it and the way that they made shit. So if another European looks at another and says, damn, why you don't have such and such and such? Yo, they got a reason to look at them because they're saying, yo, everything is in line, dog, for you to fucking have. All the benefits are in line for you to receive. So you should have everything. Understand. So you erred when you coming at us in this elitist ass way when you should know why they don't know, nigga. If you are so intelligent and you are such a fucking teacher, you should understand the situation. Why do you think certain teachers get paid certain money, especially teachers who have to deal with autistic children and etc.? Because they have to be understanding of that child's situation, what they're going through, at the same time, which means simultaneously still delivering that message that they're supposed to receive, aka called an education. Point being, they still have something that they're trying to deliver to this child, to this other human. And they have to understand that this human is not like the other humans over there. So I cannot expect of them the same thing. It's I remember once, and I'll give you guys a quick story of when I worked. I was young. I was in my 20s, and I worked at this sub shop. And I remember that they were like, we had a meeting. Everybody had their little meeting, and our group, our shift, with I think it was like the mid shift, had a meeting together. So we all get to meet with the corporate people. They come down, you know that bullshit, giving you donuts and coffee and cookies and water and all that dumb shit. So you come and tell you how much a great job you guys are doing, blah, blah, blah. So they always had a time for questions. If you want to ask questions and whatever and give suggestions, or if you got any opinions about what's going on, if you got anything to say about, anything, how the shifts run, etc., they want everybody's feedback. So we get in the fucking meeting, and of course the shit that we talked about, the little people in my crew and group we talked about, nobody's gonna say anything except me. So of course I said it. So I asked them, what is the deal on the shift where I'm working and it's supposed to be 4 people on our shift, and it's generally 2, sometimes 3. But when the morning crew managers come in, they're looking at us saying, well, why isn't this done and why isn't that done? And I continue to look at them and say, why are you expecting it to be done? There's not enough people here. You can't design something, a fucking piece of equipment that you can't have a Voltron suit and have 2 niggas. It's not, the suit ain't gonna work. It's not enough people to operate the suit. It won't function. So why are you expecting something of us when you know that there's not enough people? You shouldn't be expecting that. You should already know that it's not going to be, certain things aren't going to be done. So Moors, when you come across brothers and sisters, you should already know that they're all not going to be of a certain understanding to know that they should be chasing and attaining information and trying to gather as much information as possible to educate themselves so that they can uplift themselves from, first off, mental slavery. Meaning, you think what you're going after is what you think. You think that you want that house and a car and to travel, and no, nigga, that's what somebody told you life was, and that's what you did. That's why most of you do it, and you're bored as hell, and you drink all the time, etc., because there's no way in hell that and that alone can be fulfilling. But I digress. So, like I said, that's where the Moors error with this elitist attitude. you're being an elitist to people that you're supposed to be trying to love and help. You're talking down. I heard, and I like the brother, love him so much, but Taj Tariq Bey, I heard this brother talk and give, he was basically answering a question, and he spent the first 3 minutes, or I can leave it just like that, debating what he was saying, because anyone's allowed to do that. So instead of just handing over the facts and the information, he spent the first 2 to 3 minutes of the question answering, telling how the guy was a baby mind and this, that. Those things are called ad hominem attacks. Okay? When people generally engage in ad hominem attacks, it's usually when they cannot just simply factually answer the question. Like if I asked you a simple question of, do you know how old Michael Jackson was when he died? Now, you have people who factually know that shit and people who don't. The people who know it would simply say, yeah, he was 50 blah, blah, blah when he passed. The people who don't know it should simply say, I don't know. But when you're dealing with people who are elitists, and they don't really have a complete factual answer because their answer is really based on an opinion, but they don't want you to think that. They want you to think that their opinion is fact. So since they want you to think that their opinion is fact, and you question it in any way, instead of just giving their opinion, which is just their opinion, they got to first set it up with an ad hominem attack. So I don't know how old he was exactly, but I put myself out to be this big smart ass person. So now I'm hit with a question where I'm kind of stooped a little bit. So before I answer it, I'm going to say how simple-minded he is for asking ask me a tougher question or blah, 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 blah. It's like, what do you see? People who want to talk about things like, look, either answer it or you can't. I ask all Moors and I say it again. Do you or do you not factually have real-time evidence of anything that you say about law and how to handle the judge and how to handle the courts and how to handle this and how to handle that? Do you have real-time evidence of any of that working for you or being able to demonstrate how that works? That goes into error number 3. The Moors error by coming and touting, saying they have all this information, saying this is what it takes to beat the courts. You should be handing that out to everybody. Still to this day, there is no video, groups of videos, documentary, etc., on Moors nationwide going into courts saying the same things that they say to us on these videos and using those things to free themselves from the grasp of, getting back to the point of it all, the people who oppress us every day. What they actually do, you want to know what they do? And Moors, I gotta say it. What you actually do in real time is blame people, a fractured people, for not knowing some allegedly old, ancient ass secret of us being Moors. You blame them for not knowing that. And them not knowing that is giving the Europeans giving them a contractual freedom to do everything they do to you. Now let this sink the fuck in. You mean to tell me the only reason that these white people is shooting us and attempting to get away with it and getting away with it, discriminating from jobs, getting away with it, controlling media and know that it's lies and bias, etc., and getting away with it? They're doing all these things, forcing you into their courts and getting away with it. All these things they're doing is not their fault, it's your fault. Because you're contracting with them and you're giving them consent. When I came out, and here again, I'll say once more, to any more or anyone else who says it, you must come up with another term because the term contract does not fit what you are describing. I understand what you're saying. I get it. I swear to God, I am not being facetious. I am not playing coy and just doing this to, try to stun on you or some shit. I'm dead ass serious, nigga. I understand. What I'm telling you, what you must understand completely, what you must understand is that the term contract has a definition. And what you are describing does not fit that definition. So you must use another term. You cannot have a secret contract. It is no such thing because contracts can't be secret, weirdo. So therefore it cannot be a contract because contracts cannot be secretly made on someone. To have a contract, there must first be what? A meeting of the minds. Meaning two parties coming together, meeting, knowing that we're about to have a contract or to draw up and make a contract. What the fuck, man? You can't have a secret contract. It's a logical fallacy to even think such shit. When the definition of the term itself lets you know that the first thing is a meeting of the minds. What the fuck are you talking about? Two parties or two or more, however party, must knowingly be entering this shit. What are you talking about? It's not a contract. Stop saying that. It's the same thing I said about these feminist male chauvinists out here, female chauvinists out here, running the streets and running rampant. How they keep saying this is a rape culture and this is a rape culture. I put up the definition of the term culture. It's on my Facebook page, my Derek the Prince's Circle. The definition of the term culture means something that's agreed upon throughout the communities of an area where people live together. Meaning it's commonly accepted. Meaning it's in our culture in America for the streets to be not so crowded on Sundays because people are home watching football, basketball, enjoying their family, Sunday dinner, church, etc. That's a cultural thing. That's a part of how the culture runs. The fuck? And then I showed how the brothers from New York who had got wrongly imprisoned, that they just did the documentary on Netflix, how these brothers, how they were saying how rape in prison is the most worst thing that you could do. Like none of the prisoners even fuck with you. So these are hardened criminals. Hardened criminals, man, come and tell you that you better be in here for stealing, robbing, or something like that, trying to make it in the world, nigga, even murder. But raping somebody, yo, that's the worst thing you could be in prison. So amongst the worst of the humans in your society, rape is not tolerated or allowed. So how the fuck is that a culture? You have to use another term. That doesn't fly. That doesn't apply. It's what the fuck? It's not a rape culture. Rape. No one says and allows rape and talks about rape and say, yeah, I can't wait to rape me or such and such tomorrow. Who says that? And who lets people say that around them? So that's what I mean with this bullshit, and especially with the Moors, how they come at us knowing what's going on in our community, knowing what's going on in our culture, and they still ignore all of that and tell you that you're contracting with somebody, though it's not a contract by the definition of the fucking term contract. They'll tell you that it's a contract and that you're contracting with them, and what you must do to properly be your proper person contracting with them, and they never demonstrate this shit to you like anybody else who is promoting something and saying something. If you're demonstrating explain to me something, you should have a detailed book, step-by-step plan of how this shit should work, and you do not have that. That does not exist anywhere in the Moorish society. They'll bring up some slides and tell you like, this is the law, this is the code, some 20-minute role playing session or some bullshit. Come on, man, what the fuck is you waiting? Fucking go, the light's green. Fuck. But anyway, like, I'm like, yo, come on, man. Like, you ain't demonstrating to no fucking body what the fuck is actually going on. You're not doing that. And the reason why you're not doing that is because 90% of you motherfuckers have never in your life, like I said, 98% of you have never in your fucking lives been in court and used any of that shit. Shame TV East watch, yo. Oh, she must already be at the field. Let me turn around. I'm about to pull up in this field in like 10 minutes and see my son do his thing. Oh, man. So I just wanted to get that off my chest, man. Like, I feel that's where the Moors error. They error with their delivery with the people, and their delivery with the people is error because they come at us in a fucked up way, in an arrogant and dismissive way. Like, yo, come on, man. Fucking Africans, yo. If you don't accept this shit, or you don't already know this, and if you don't understand the nations of government and how see, this is what happens to an infant people. You see, you have to understand, you're operating as an infant, and you're doing this. No, dog, these people are oppressing us. So show us how the people that are oppressing us every day on a routine basis, you show me, motherfucker, how these people are doing this just by our pretend consent to them. You mean to tell me you have evidence of step-by-step how to get around this? This is what I mean and what I say when I say real-time evidence in some fucking a demonstration of how this works. They don't have any of that. And what you're telling people to do is important. I understand. So if it's important, that means it's something called serious. So what you're telling people, bro, is serious. You're telling people things that could land them in jail, and some of these people have never been in jail in their lives. Never been to jail in their lives. And so the shit you're telling them could land them in jail. It's not a fucking game. So you're telling them this shit, you're doing the Umar Johnson, buck dancing, fucking black power motherfucker of this era as we know them today, routine, and shaming people into, oh, you should do it, you just bowing, you have your own nation, you have all this wealth. You know what I'm saying? We have this and that and this and that, but you pulled up in a fucking 1982 fucking Toyota van or Volkswagen van that was in fucking Back to the Future or some shit. With a Moorish flag hanging in the back window and some regular license plates that said New York or Illinois or whatever the fuck you from. You're not showing nobody nothing. All this shit is the same shit. If you're gonna tell somebody to put their life on the line and show them that they should be putting their life on the line, then you should actually have something as simple as a goddamn step-by-step video of this act operating in real time. Even motherfuckers who sell bullshit products on an infomercial got a video, a 30-minute video, an instructional video of how you use the shit. That's at least you can do for your customer. And I say customer because y'all know they charging for this shit. And they ain't charging the price it costs for the paper. That ain't what they're charging. Them niggas is charging big money. They're not even saying donation, in which you would give a person the opportunity to donate to you, and they might give you more than you was charging. because black people tend to do that once they get a hold of something, especially the more popular you get, etc. It's crazy, bro. But I'm about to pull up to my son's school, and I don't want all that on camera. So Shame TV East Watch. These are my little conversation about where I feel the Moors era. And I say you still era. Stop being elitist. Stop talking about black and acting like that's a big deal. You know why black people refer to themselves as black, and you know what they mean most of the time. So you should go with the meaning and what they meaning and their intent, and you say that shit for when it's needed. If you teaching people that, okay, this is you when you in court, don't say black, don't say African, don't say whatever. That's you would have reached a lot more people than coming up to you. What is black? Don't call me. That's the this. Shut the fuck up, man. Don't nobody know that shit, and you should know that they don't know that shit. So if you come up to them like that, you're defeating your whole purpose. Other than if you're arrogantly trying to make yourself feel superior to them. Shame TV East Wide.